The United Nations estimates that the Chinese state has detained more than 1 million Uyghurs, the ethnic Muslim minority in China, in camps. Some have been eventually released, but notably, Communist Party officials have shown reluctance freeing Uyghur intellectuals. And according to the Uyghur Human Rights Project based in the U.S., hundreds of scholars, historians, artists, writers, poets, musicologists have disappeared. Activists call what's happened a cultural genocide. Correspondent Mathias Bölinger has this report spanning Germany and Xinjiang as he tells the story of one missing professor from the city of Kashgar.
For many years, a few scientific books have been Tahir Mutällip Qahiri's only link to his family. His father, Mutällip Sidiq Qahiri, had dedicated his life to linguistics, specializing in the etymology of Uyghur names. A member of China's ruling Communist Party, the Uyghur scholar was a model scientist in Xinjiang and the editor of Kashgar University's magazine. Then, in 2017, he suddenly disappeared. He had been accused by the authorities of spreading ethnic hatred.
The party decides who is a professor and who is a criminal. My father was a professor and scientist because the party allowed him. He was, of course, hardworking, but it was the party who allowed him to do this work. And now the party has made him a criminal.
Tahir Qahiri is a university lecturer in Göttingen, Germany. He has followed in his father's footsteps and teaches Uyghur language and literature. This semester, he is teaching a class on Uyghur pop culture online because of the corona epidemic. Some of the songs are just a few years old, but to Qahiri they already sound as though they are from a distant era.
Hundreds of professors who study Uyghur culture have been arrested. Many artists and singers have been arrested. The man we listen to today is one of them.
Since 2017, China has detained hundreds of thousands, possibly even millions of Uyghurs in re-education camps or sentenced them to prison terms. Members of the cultural elite, like his father, have been especially targeted.
I'm very angry, but I try to control my emotions to stay human and peaceful.
The persecution is part of a campaign to assimilate minorities in China. The Uyghur language has been removed from school curricula, while historic monuments like the ancient city of Kashgar have been renovated and turned into tourist attractions. Traditional lifestyles have come under attack. All mosques inside the ancient city have been closed, many minarets been removed. Some have been converted into tourist spaces. The ablution facilities now host public toilets. A desecration. One mosque was even turned into a bar. It has since closed. In Kashgar's two main bookstores, we ask about the works of Mr. Qahiri Sr. Official documents have clearly named the goal of these policies to destroy the roots and break the lineage of the Uyghurs. Back in Göttingen, Tahir Qahiri finally heard news from his father in March 2019, 18 months after his disappearance. Looking old and frail, he denied via video chat that he had been detained and said he had spent the last months in hospital.
My son, you must not believe these lies. You must keep your mouth shut and publicly renounce the accusations you have made and clean up the dirt that you left. This will be best for us. If you want to do something for us, do what I tell you. What's sad for me is that here he's defending the perpetrators.
I try to see Mr. Qahiri, who lives on campus. As soon as I am at the gate, police appear. I ask them to let me see Mr. Qahiri.
因为你是记者，完了之后看你走正规的渠道提出申请，好吧？这个我们没有权利同意。
哦，那如果他个人同意吗？
你必须要经过我们的外交部啊。
Calls to the university were not answered. Tahir Qahiri has gotten confirmation from a court that a verdict has been issued against his father, but he has not been able to obtain its content. He can now talk to his parents every 2 weeks for 2 minutes, then the line is cut off.
The Chinese government has made me a lonely man, a sad, lonely man in exile.
One of his only solaces is that by teaching at the university he can contribute to preserving the culture that has suffered so much under China's government.
We have Uyghur ethnomusicologist, performance artist, and filmmaker Muqaddas Midget joining us. She was born in the city of Urumqi in what China calls its Xinjiang region. Muqaddas, this story of Mutällip Sidiq Qahiri has happened to many Uyghur scholars. And when so many stewards of a culture, from specialists in literature to music to history and anthropology, are silenced like that, what is the impact?
This is a very important question, I think. What is the impact? The first impact is like we're losing so much knowledge, so much creativity, even for human society. I mean, it is a loss for everyone. It is it is really tragic for the human civilization, I would say, because Uyghur culture is really rich and it is a part of human history, human culture. If we lose that part of humanity, it is a big loss for all of us. I know that many people doesn't really know and not really familiar with Uyghur culture or Uyghur arts, but the main role of all these people who are disappeared in Chinese camps are really the people who knows really a lot about these cultures and who were carrying on and making these cultural expressions alive. So in that sense, it is a big loss for Uyghur society, Uyghur people, and it is also a big loss for anyone else.
That is a wonderful point you have highlighted, because cultures interact. So Uyghur culture doesn't happen just in its own ecosystem. It's shared by so many other people. So tell us about your own recent work and how critical and important it is to preserve Uyghur culture overseas in free spaces. I mean, you've taken traditional Uyghur styles and made them contemporary.
Yes, I have a very traditional Uyghur dance education. I went to the Art Institute in Urumqi when I was still living there, and I had this chance to encounter with so many brilliant Uyghur traditional dance masters. And then when I came to Europe, I realized that my culture was so less known, it's a nice way to put it, but a lot of people didn't know who are the Uyghurs, and they didn't know our existence. So culture and artistic expression has always been this very important tool for me to introduce my culture, introduce who I am and my people. And then I went to this journey of being an ethnomusicologist, and I saw that actually, apart from what I learned in the Art Institute, my culture is so diverse, and there's so many things still be discovered even for us, for someone like me who were studying Uyghur culture. So with all this richness, and then with my own personal artistic journey that I had in Europe and in the world, I started to think like Uyghur dance, Uyghur music, they also have like a very strong power of expressing themselves. It's not just a museum piece, and it's not just a fixed or crystallized form of artistic expression, or it doesn't belong to the past. So I wanted it to be a vibrant part of contemporary art scene. I wanted to make it more accessible, and then I wanted to use my own roots to express myself and tell my stories.
Now, if the Chinese state manages to control education and deploy propaganda the way it has for an entire generation of Uyghur children, we're seeing this to try to essentially make them conform to ethnic Han Chinese norms. What do you think will be the outcome?
The outcome is the Uyghur region is a very historic and, as you said, very mixed and very diverse part of the world. And if we took away all the identity, all the Uyghur identity, or all the rich history and all the vibrantness of these people and this culture and this place, all like what Chinese government is eventually trying to do is just erase anything which make these people individuals, make these people free spirits, and make these people different. They're erasing all the differences to bring them into like creating like machines, or creating like a soulless maneuver, and they can create, like they can work in the factories, and then they just have to participate in this very dangerous ambition of Chinese government to really control world economy.
Mutällip Sidiq, thank you so much for joining us.